And we're off. The first game of the VulcanHDGaming Wargame Red Dragon Invitational. And what decks are we looking at today, Van?
Right, so let's start on the blue side with Razman and Nando. So Razman has a Commonwealth deck. Makes me quite proud inside to see that deck. Because we haven't really seen it much in quite some time, because Commonwealth has not really been too strong, I think, for quite a while. And Nande is running, I believe, a Blue General motorized deck, which is very interesting because Blue General, as I'm sure most of you know, got quite a heavy nerf. The availability was reduced, I think, it was from 50 to 45 for the amount of cards points worth you can have. And then if we knock over onto the red side, we have Firestarter with a Eastern Bloc deck, which is very strong at the moment. And we have Pattern with a Sovco Armored, which is, again, very, very strong deck.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the Sovco Armored come out because it's not something that I thought we would see in like the current meta. But obviously it's still very strong. You do get the T90s and obviously the T80 UMs and all that kind of stuff. Makes you very strong. However, on this particular map, do you think that armor will really have a large impact?
Honestly, I think taking the armored deck on Hop and Glory is probably a little bit of a waste, really.
Isn't this gunboat diplomacy?
Yeah, this is Gunboat. So, you know, I think it's a strong deck, but I think you have to have the map for it. I'm not sure I agree with it here, because a lot of the fighting you're doing is infantry. Because unless they do a giant push through to Alpha at the top side, I just don't think the armored deck will be too good. Because most of your fighting is in the town areas and Echo and Hotel.
Yeah, so unless they manage to get that good push at the start, like you say, then things might go a bit tits up with all those tanks. But you do see Patton did put down a couple of pings on those bridges, so maybe we'll see something coming out there. But it looks like Nandemann would be quite well prepared. He's got a couple of HGM squads there and some anti-air, also a recon, of course, to make sure that he knows what's coming. Cheeky little Vulcan by the command vehicle at the back there at India. And what sort of units are we looking at in Juliet?
Well, in Juliet, we've got the combined forces of Nande and Razman. We've got the very, very fast transports for Nande, so we're going to see, I think, probably some Gewehrmen in those XA-180s, I think. Or is that Stormers? I can never remember. The very annoying, different, very similar names of all the Scandinavian countries. We've got some manpads in the VAB T20, so that'll be a Mistral squad. 2 squads of those manpads, actually, some Hatching Anashikis as well. And then Razman is bringing the fire. He's bringing a Challenger 2. Lots of TH-495s, which are the Canadian armoured vehicles, armoured transports, with most likely Canadian rifles, 85 in them, which are a very good unit at the moment. And Nande's bringing some more kind of Crotals, Hatchinanas, and XA-180s with them. I think that'll be Gewehrmen. Well, we'll have to see. Maybe Stormers or something of the like. And they're starting with some CVs and helis as well.
It's just really nice to see that Chally at the start. I'm so looking forward to that Challenger 2 getting a lot of kills. And also, you mentioned the Canadian rifles in the TH-495s. Yeah, they are incredibly strong at the moment. Like, really underpriced, in my opinion, for what they can achieve. I think they have a slight sort of small, sort of like a stealth stat that like makes them better. Not stealth, but
I'm not sure about the stealth, but they're like 25 points for the infantry
like
and the transport. So.
What's it called? Like when it's like behind the scene.
You're really struggling for this one, aren't you?
You know when like a unit has a stat, like a secret stat. There we go, like a secret stat that makes makes it better than other equivalent infantry. That is what I think. Is what makes the Canadian rifle better. Yeah, that's what I've heard anyway. Anyway,
I'm not sure. But well, let's take a look at the red side. Anyway.
Indeed, yeah.
Secret stats aside. So on the bottom side, we've got Patton starting with the T90S, as we all know, very solid tank, and a Buratino. All Buratino, no skill. That's George S. Patton for you. And Firestarter's bringing a lot of that very potent Eastern Bloc infantry. I expect a lot of Moat Schützens and some LSTR in those SPW 80s. I think, and probably some God, what are they called? The Czech recon units, the Specialinis.
Oh yeah, the
However you pronounce
specialty Jednotki dudes.
The
Yeah.
Jednotskis. So in the top side, we've got Patton spawning with a T-64 BM and just some more infantry in the Shulker as well.
Yeah, that should be quite a nice start for that top side, although those pings were really confusing me. Oh my god, these pings out of pattern, that's so very nice of them. We did tell them to avoid doing pings, but there we go. What can you do?
I mean, I guess they just don't give a hoot.
Community rebels. And yeah, so that T90S should match up a little bit to the Challenger 2, although I would expect the Challenger 2 to win out in that matchup. But that Buratino, cheesy as hell. We should see that do a lot of damage. Not much armor heading to the top side, so it doesn't look like we're going to see a fight between Alpha and Charlie in this one. There is mainly going to be a attack between Hotel and Echo, and I swear to God, these pings just get worse.
They just keep going. I mean, you got to hand it to them. They're quite creative.
They definitely are.
3-pack, the Cheddar Daddy, this is for you. Thank you. If anyone's ever seen the Zero Hoot song, whatever it is, it's probably something you should avoid watching. It's a bit like brain draining, really.
The most meme game in this tournament. It's already here.
Well, you know, when I told you before that Pan and Firestar have like meme lords on their resume, I wasn't kidding. But yeah,
it's quite a long deployment, I'm finding. And just as I say that, we're off. So yeah, it was quite a long deployment. It seems that both teams definitely took their time in putting down their units. And, well, yeah, off we go. And the majority of the forces will be heading to Hotel and Echo. We've already got the DHS Mi-24P from Firestarter heading towards Echo. And that could take out this Lynx that Razman's bringing across. The AH-7 there could get caught out by infrared missiles, but it looks like the DHS is flying too far away in order to take that down. Although Flacom OSA AKMs, one shot, that's going to kill those.
Going to kill those if we stop them, because it's a has to be stationary to fire. It's a guided missile, and it looks like he's missed his chance here. I'm not sure whether he could actually see that or not, but Razman is going to get his. Oh, if he lands it, instead of firing the Sneb rockets, he's going to get his Lynx AH-7 down with those SAS in.
That was very, very close there. The LSTR-40 just took out the AH-7 as it was taking off again. And the Hachi Nanashiki has opened fire to get first blood on a Ural. Well, actually after the Lynx went down. But the SAS took out the DHS Mi-24P already, which is incredible. So that SAS squad already paying itself off. This Buratino coming in. First rocket kills a Mistral squad. The following rockets stun that infantry that's arrived, and now the Challenger 2 and the Challenger 1 Mark IIIs have started engaging the T-90 and other APCs in the area.
They have, yeah, and it was Stormers in those XA-180s, by the way, which is very, very, very nice Norwegian. Yep, I think that was Norwegian infantry unit. That Buratino, though, it just goes to show, even with the nerf, it can still do a lot of damage. It's completely pushed Razman's infantry back from the edge of that town.
Yeah, but look at this push in the bottom side here. The XA-180s coming across the bridge straight away. They've got the support of the Hachi Nanashikis, and they're taking down those Prubs Komznisi, and that squad should die very, very quickly, but the backup coming here now. Firestarter's repositioned his Moat Shoots and 90, and the BMP 1 SP1s with those cannons, but they got taken out very quickly by the Carl Gustav M2 of the Stormers, and now the firefight breaks out between the Moat Shoots and the Stormers until this Buratino comes in and makes them all stunned.
Makes them all stunned indeed. These Moat Shoots will, you know, probably have a very good time now, but then again, no, they're already panicked actually. The amount of fire that's coming down from Nande is pretty ferocious. And I imagine, oh, never mind, a SU-24M is coming in, which could do a lot of damage here, but luckily Nande micros all of his infantry out of the way. Yeah,
that was very good micro from Nandemann, dodging that bombing strike. A classic bomber coming in there. Haven't seen the SU-24M used in quite a while, but the Krautal missed one of its rockets and didn't do any damage. So that SU-24M is not going to be off the battlefield for very long. It could come back and land another strike quite quickly. And Nandemann is going to have to watch out for that.
He definitely is, but he's got quite a nice foothold on this side of Echo though. But at the same time though, Razman's tanks have taken a real beating, a combination I think from that T90 as well as the Buratino there, stunning the tanks and then giving free shots over to that T90, if I can speak.
Yeah, so the Challenger 2 is now on 3 health and the Challenger 1 Mark III is on 5. That Buratino panicked them and basically made them not very effective at all. And now Razman's had to bring up this HLVW in order to repair those. You can see he's turned off the ammunition and fuel just to repair those tanks as soon as possible. So some nice micro there coming out of Razman to make sure his supplies reach the right vehicles. And now Razman's Eric squads, very nice Canadian unit, is attacking the Moat-Schutzen that were crossing in the field. A Twardy now coming up for Firestarter, sitting in the back line there, is helping with some good fire support. Great thing about the Twardy is it does have that 9 rounds per minute, which kind of matches the T90S, but the extra firepower there added to that T90 is definitely a good addition. So that Jaguar GR1A came in, was trying to get a hit onto those tanks I believe, but couldn't get line of sight.
No, unfortunately. Quite well microed back into the bush, but I mean, this is kind of precarious for Patton and Firestarter, because if they push these tanks forward, those Eric squads do an insane amount of damage, 25 AP for each missile. And if he doesn't, if he's not careful with those tanks, they can just get one shot by both of those Eric squads.
Yeah, also the Challengers are being fixed up now. So we got a new Challenger 2 from Razman, so which means he now has 2 Challenger 2s. And that's definitely a lot of firepower that Patton and Firestarter now have to contend with. And I'm not quite sure they can match up to that tank for tank at the moment. They're going to have to bring in some reinforcements or maybe rely on some MiG-27s or the like.
Yeah, they could do, and it looks like unfortunately that GR1A has gone down. Jaguar there. With the OSA AKMs, I think.
Yeah, those OSA AKMs did manage to get a direct hit onto the Jaguar. I believe twice they hit it, so that went down nice and easy. Managed to take out like an APC, I think it was, so nothing special. But now Nandemann's Stormers, because they're so far up, they're actually not supported by very much. And Nandemann's bringing up these Leopard Recon, and they're not exactly what he needs in this position right now. He needs more infantry to support those dying Stormer squads. Otherwise he's going to lose his position in Echo, and that could be a real problem moving on.
Well, I think he will do, because, you know, Moat-Schutzen are incredibly cost effective, and Firestarter has a whole host of them just pushing down onto those Stormers and Mistral squads that Nande forced into Echo. They are getting some Leopard 1, the Kenning even, recon tanks coming to support them. Some really nice Dutch units we saw added with the most recent DLC, but I think honestly Nande probably best just to pull back from this side of the river at the moment.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's not exactly the best choice of unit for this situation. He probably shouldn't have moved them across the bridge, mainly because it's left them in quite a vulnerable position. And he will have to definitely retreat those. All of the infantry is now dead on Firestarter's side of Echo, and this is going to make the attack across the river very one-dimensional from Hotel to Echo now. But the +1 conquest lead coming out for Razman and Nandemann at the moment, as they do control Hotel and the red side do not control Echo. So that's where the lead's coming from, although it looks like at the start of the game Firestarter and Patton did manage to get a little lead by capturing their sectors sooner.
I have to say I'm a little confused that Nande is still trying to push here. He's got some Stollies with probably Commandos 90, I think, will be in those. But I'll hold that thought, because another Buratino strike is coming straight onto Razman's tanks in the Forest and Hotel. And a nice crit dude for that Challenger 2, who's unfortunately got an optical failure, on top of being hit by thermobaric rockets.
Yeah, so full health loss there for the Challenger 2. I believe that was just direct hit from the Buratino, and also the fire damage as well. That Lynx AH7 did manage to take out the recon squad on the edge of the town, so that's going to definitely hamper Firestarter's vision onto Razman's commandos there, which are very close to the Moat-Schutzen but don't know it. Now there's LSTR moved up from Firestarter and managed to take out a Crotal, so that's a really nice kill there for Firestarter, and the Leopards are now backing up towards a recon squad. That could get scary. It looks like Nandemann has spotted them though, and has turned the Leopards' attention towards them.
He has indeed, and I think these poor Specialinis are going to have a very bad time. But an SU-24M coming in, and these Leopard 1Vs do actually have a very low amount of armour. And, oh, never mind, it misses. If that would have hit, that may well have actually killed one or two of the tanks. So, quite lucky it was a miss.
Yeah, 2-track Rapiers behind the Challenger 2s now did fire at that SU-24M and unfortunately missed. But look where he's put them. He's put them in the river, so they are like obviously amphibious units, and having them there makes them much lower down and a lot harder to spot. So a really nice play from Razman, I feel, putting those track Rapiers in the river behind that forest makes them very, very hard to spot with recon.
Yeah, definitely a nice place to put them. Obviously the only downside really is you don't have any, you know, it's not on the very front line, they can't be used against helicopters, but then again the track Rapier has 2100 meters range against helicopters, so probably don't want to be using them for that anyway.
Yeah, so now a small push coming across the river from Razman. Looks like the napalm strike from that Buratino did give the Canadian Rifles some cover against the Moat-Schutzen squad they were fighting against, but as soon as that smoke clears, those Moat-Schutzen squads entrenched in that building are going to slaughter the Canadian Rifles, I feel. But over on this right side, we do have the M8 Panzerbills moving across the bridge, using the Leopard's recon to try and cause as much damage as possible. The best thing about those M8 Panzerbills, they do have 20 rounds per minute with a 2HE cannon, and that does make them great fire support units for these infantry pushes. And some Commandos 90s now joining the fray, but those Panzerbills really need to start doing their job, otherwise these infantry units are going to get caught out in the open.
Well, this M is coming in now and it's going to land right on those Commandos 90. We did actually see quite a tragic miss before. A Kahu went over and tried to kill Patton's T-72BU on the right side of Echo, but unfortunately missed both of its missiles. Would have been a one-shot if it did, because it was the side of the tank that was showing.
Yeah, so the Commandos did get wiped out by that bombing strike, and a really nice micromanagement from Firestarter moving his Moat-Schutzen back. The Canadian Rifles are still covered by the Buratino smoke, but panicked, and they will probably get slaughtered as soon as the smoke disappears again. The Challengers are now opening up onto the T90S of Patton, and it's on 1 health. It looks like that might go down unless it can get into cover, and it looks like it just did. So Patton getting away with that one nicely as he brings back the T90S on 1 health. That's going to be able to be repaired and head back to the front line.
It's going to be able to be repaired, but that's still a big temporary loss, because I have to pull back and really need to spend some time to sort itself out. And he does have this other BU though, pulling in.
Yeah, so the lead still currently for Razman and Nandemann. They've actually pulled ahead in conquest points now. The F111C did come in and get a nice kill there, and the Electric Voodoo was trying to snipe a couple of those OSA AKMs, but some nice micromanagement from Firestarter turning off the radar and turning it back on again as the Voodoo turned its back.
Yep, definitely. We see some Stormers pushing in from Nambe towards the building line in Echo, which honestly I think won't get too far. There's a lot of Moat-Schutzen in these buildings.
Yeah, I think if they get into cover though, they can definitely put up a fight and open up some targets for the fire support. You've got the 2 Challenger 2s moving backwards and forwards with the Challenger 1 Mark III, and if a line of sight opens up to any of these Moat-Strelke squads or the Moat-Schutzen squads, then they can get slaughtered very easily. But it looks like Nandemann is sending the Stormers to their death on their own without any support, and that's not something that I think is very good at all. We've got a couple more reinforcements coming up, but still the Stormers dying very quickly.
Die very quickly. If he micros, he's right. Okay, never mind. As I say that, he loses one of the squads, but if he'd have pulled them out a second sooner, he might have been able to save a squad there, but pushing in these more Stormers to take the place of the 1-2 fallen.
Yeah, I think that was a nice quick move there by Nandemann to try and retreat these couple squads that are damaged and replace them with full squads. But if these couple of damaged squads get caught out in the open by some of those Mochusson 90 moving, then that could be an issue, and that's not something that would be very good at all. It looks like one of the Challenger 2s went down. Am I missing something here?
No, I think you're right. No, it did go down. I didn't see what 2 though. We're paying too much attention to these hardcore stormers fighting out in the bottom side of...
It must have been this Conquer squad, I feel. It must have sideshot the Challenger 2. The Challenger 2 now on 1 health on that left side. The last one is on 1 health. Another plane going down for blue side. Some big hits coming in here for the red team. This is crazy.
Some big hits, yeah, but I still think the blue team has a bit of an advantage because as long as they can hold Hotel and also contest Echo, which they're doing reasonably well at the moment, they will have that 1 point lead. And it's ticking up at the moment, 121 to 68, and if things keep on the way they're going, if we have a bit of a stalemate like this for the rest of the game, it's definitely going to be a blue team win, I think.
Yeah, so at this rate, the game could go on quite a while, but how long do you think it's going to be until Firestarter and Patton realise there isn't much on the blue side's side of Echo?
I think it depends, because, you know, we've talked about it before, how it's always... Well, actually, I say that, they're smoking off now, so they might try and push at the moment, but, you know, it's very, very confusing mentally, because you see a lot of fire coming out, and you just don't know exactly how much is there. But with this Buratino and the smoke, I feel like they will actually go for an attack. I'm not sure what with, but I feel like they'll try with something.
Yeah, they're starting to position forwards the T-72B1 to snipe a couple of those APCs that were coming down the road. The Canadian rifles there being caught out. Mochusson now running across the bridge as well. They might reveal that there isn't much defending. We've also got the Recon squad coming in from Firestarter and the BMP-1 SP-1. So these vehicles are basically showing that there isn't any long-range fire support to defend this right now, and this could give the game away in Echo.
It definitely could. I mean, these Stormers aren't going to last long against some Specialinis and that fire support as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, the BMP-1 was a little bit close, but the Snezka there, the Snezka Recon, with 15 autocannon rounds left, did help to take out that Stormer squad with the help of the Mi-25 S-24 as well, with those 240mm rockets hit directly.
That's a dead Buratino in mid. Nande, or not Nande even, I think it was probably Razman traded a Harrier GR7 for that Buratino. Unfortunately though, there's another one right there, so I'm not sure exactly how happy they'll be to see the second Buratino fire off, but you know, that is a positive trade for them, 140 points for 120.
Yeah, the kill there, quite significant actually, because I don't think they have many more Buratinos. So Patton will probably have 2 on his deck, I would say, because of the changes to their availability. So that basically means that he's killed 1 and they're not going to get that back throughout the entire game now, which is quite important because those Buratinos can be amazing fire support. But now you can see some emergency reinforcements coming in from Razman. He's brought up a couple of squads of SAS, and an F111C is coming in with the 4 1,000 kilogram bombs and takes out 1 squad of infantry. The squad in the SPW-80 remaining alive. That was pretty lucky actually, I feel. That bomb being landing a little bit further would have blown up that LSTR squad for good. But now a couple of squads of Stormers and a couple of squads of SAS defending against the Mochusson. The Mochusson have found the command unit, so I think what's going to happen now, yeah, they're going to put all effort into destroying that, and the Mochusson squads moved forwards, ignored the Stormers and the SAS, and took down the command unit in Echo, which is going to level things out and make sure nobody has a conquest income lead.
No one has an income lead, but we do see these Mi-25s being brought in by Patton, which are the North Korean Mi-24s, and are very, very good for the price. And those SAS are very panicked, so I say that as the Mi-25 gets taken down by all that fire support, but SAS, they're panicked, as we all know. Unfortunately not particularly as good as they are when they're calm, and would have probably missed those missile shots anyway, I think.
Well, yeah, a lot of reinforcements coming across these bridges now, and these SAS are going to die pretty quickly, I feel, and then full control of this side of Echo will go to Firestarter and Patton, and I think they've done a fantastic job of realizing that there wasn't much defense there, using those recon units and other probing vehicles, and taking advantage of that and managing to actually kill the command vehicle before it retreated. Sorry about my dog, guys. Love to get a bit rowdy sometimes, but yeah, some tanks coming over now and starting to really get some significant forces on this side of the river.
Yep, they're pushing across, and this gives them a really nice place to go and try and contest Hotel. Because there is not much on this bottom side of Hotel. As I say that, and as the R squad takes out another one of those leopard 1V Kennings, and very, very dangerous position for Nandemann and Razman.
Yeah, so this could be the red team's way into Hotel, because what will happen is if they manage to sweep their tanks into Hotel from this position that they are currently in, they can take control of that small town and get a command vehicle or command infantry squad into there to contest Hotel, which will give them the +1 lead and swing things back in their favour. So I think that's what they're looking to do at the moment. They're putting a lot of resources into the bottom side. It looks like they're also probing through the smoke directly into Hotel as well. That's very interesting to see that play done, and I don't think that's going to last very long though. A couple of VulcanHDGaming squads could cut that off very easily.
Well, I just feel a bit sad for these Mochits and Mochits and 90. There's 7 and 6 men respectively in the squads, so they're not going to last very long. I think they probably should have resupplied them before they pushed them in. Because, well, actually, I say that, but those VulcanHDG show themselves and get absolutely wrecked by all the fire support. So maybe they're going to get away okay, actually.
Yeah, that T-72BU absolutely being able to hammer that squad, and those moat shoots are now moving forwards dangerously close to these tanks. Fortunately, the front armor is facing, but those heat rockets, they don't care about that armor too much because they do the same amount of damage no matter the range. So that 24 AP power hitting that 20 front armor is still going to do quite a lot of damage, and that's not something that Razman really wants right now.
That's definitely not something he wants at the moment. If he loses one of those tanks, I think they'll basically just gift Hotel to the red team at the moment. Because there is a lot of heavy armour on both sides of the river for Patton and Firestarter.
Yeah, I'm just loving this use of fire support. The BMP3's there with that really long range HE gun, and they've already used those really long range AGGMs to do a lot of damage. Plenty of tanks coming out of Firestarter and Patton. It looks like that Sovco armoured is really coming into effect. Spamming out those tanks. Some really nice Buratino strikes as well, directly on top of the Stormers and Challengers, stunning them and panicking them. They're going to make them incredibly ineffective against the Moat Shoots and 90, who are sitting pretty in those buildings. Don't have many men left. There's only one man in each squad, and they are worried, but panicked is always worse than worried, and I'm pretty sure those Moat Shoots are going to do a lot of damage to the APCs and so on before they die. You can see a Moat Shoots squad did take out one of those M113A1s before they died, which killed the squad because they were in water. So that's pretty crazy, and really getting value for money out of those squads now.
They definitely are. I mean, this is really hanging on a knife edge, because if the blue team can't hold Hotel, this game is probably over, to be honest. And as we say, that MiG-27K coming in and
nice.
Sniping the Challenger one.
Yeah, nice kill there at the back line. Did spot that. Did it get out alive? No, it did not. The MiG-27 did get shot down by the Trap Rapier FSAs, and it looks like the SG-27PU went down as well. That's actually a very big kill for the blue side, as it does open up the air and allow them to bring in more ground attack aircraft. But Firestarter's positioning and Patton's positioning in Hotel now, getting those Motorstrelki and Motschutzen into those buildings is going to allow them so much opportunity to get a command unit in there.
It is, but this GR7 is going to one-shot the UM. The UM only has 3 top armor, which means a Harrier GR7 will always one-pass it. which is a big loss for the red team. I mean, I say big loss, they have a lot of heavy tanks left, but that's a lot of points that were just thrown away.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced about that. The GR7 died, and like you say, they're using an armoured deck, and like the opponents have plenty of expendable heavy tanks. And is a UM like really worth that investment of the GR7? In theory, yes, because in a standard game they wouldn't have so many of them. But in an armoured deck where they're bringing in T90s and the T80s, you've got to be more careful, I feel. You can't afford to throw away your aircraft like that.
Yeah, I think that's true, but again, at the same time, it was a positive points trade, so I think I can definitely understand Nando's reasoning behind it, even if it might have been a little better off to hold back. But I mean, to be honest, they had to do something. They had to do something because the red team's pushing into the bottom of Hotel. It's looking quite bleak, and also as an F-18C goes down there, which is a very big investment that's just gone down to.
Yeah, so another plane going down for a kill that wasn't necessary in my opinion. Like, that's why I was a bit worried about that kill on the T80UM, because it wasn't really affecting the tide of the battle too much. You still had the Challenger 2 and the Challenger 1 Mark III that you could have moved down into line of sight of that one tank and faced it directly, sort of moved it down to where the commandos are, use that smoke in order to move forwards a little bit, and then the T72BU and the T90S sitting in that little forest wouldn't be able to shoot down and hit you, especially considering Razman does have the FB432 mortar sitting in the back providing a little bit of smoke support. But Nandemann's recon tanks are now being hit by the BMP3s of Patton again, and that's going to force those back out of range, and it looks like they might even go down the bridge, just giving a lack of line of sight and causing those HGMs to go off target.
Yeah, very, very lucky for that one retreating Leopard one. I have to say, I've been very impressed by Razman's use of the Lynx 87s. I mean, again, these guys, well, all of these guys are known for being fantastic micro players. And the Lynx 87 is one of the best support helicopters in the game, I think. Those SNEV missiles are fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely like, I think I've noticed that as well. Just those Lynx AH7s have been getting quite a lot of infantry kills, which is something that's always great, especially considering they come in with those infantry squads, and if you actually get value for money out of the transports, that's always a bonus. But some serious reinforcements coming down from Nandemann to stop this push from Firestarter in Hotel, and they have got full control back to Hotel, so still maintaining about a 50-point lead over their opponents, Razman and Nandemann, just still holding on. But I just feel like things are going to get worse from now on. Even more tank reinforcements coming in for Patton and Firestarter, and I feel like at any moment, like a tidal wave is just going to flood over Hotel, and there's not going to be much that Razman and Nandemann can do about it, except from maybe some exceptional micro with the Challengers and the infantry as well. They're going to have to be incredibly careful that the infantry doesn't get sniped by superior fire support at this point.
That's true, but at the same time, Nande is running that motorized deck. He has a lot of very good infantry. These a 4-stack of 186 NOs bringing a lot of Gaverman. And oh, a Jaguar GR1A goes and kills that Twadi, I think it was, in Echo, as the Electric Voodoo comes in and takes out the OSA AKM. And these Gaverman probably going to have a very bad time here, but I think they've done a decent job by taking out that heavy tank. It does make Patton Firestarter think twice, really, because they do lack the heavy support they just had on their side of the bridge.
Yeah, I'm surprised Nandemann is pushing forwards those 3 squads. I think that's maybe a bit overzealous. He's putting himself in a very poor position there, and having those 3 squads in a defensive position would definitely be more beneficial than trying to push them into the entrenched positions of Patton and Firestarter.
This is a disaster, Ahmed. I don't know if you just saw the Challenger 2 just got burnt alive by napalm.
Oh my god. Well, there's still 1 left, and Razman has 1 more left on the other side of the river now, providing fire support towards all of this all of this infantry flooding into Hotel. This is crazy, and yeah, I don't think Razman can really afford to lose those challenges like that. That has just changed the game entirely and allowed all of this infantry to just flood across.
It has a little Kahu from, I believe it was Razman, came in and killed Pan's T90 that had been there for quite a while. So, I mean, that trade is evened out a little bit, but at the same time, I believe the Kahu went down and it's looking a little bleak. For,
Yeah, well, the damage is already
Nandemann.
done. The infantry's gotten into that those buildings, and I think having that pressure into Hotel just gives Patton and Firestarter so many opportunities to get like a command unit in, and what this is going to do is force Razman and Nandemann to focus on that attack, and then what's going to happen is it's going to leave the door open on the other side for Patton and Firestarter to push in and take the other town, which then leaves them two places to put the command, because there's no recon where those Fusiliers are, which is something that I'm quite disappointed about, really. And if there was, then they wouldn't have to be worried so much about a CV sneaking in the back there. But at the moment, there's ample opportunity for the red side.
I think that's definitely true. I think they need to do it fast, though. I mean, do they have one coming up? No CVs coming in yet, but I mean, I think this should be a priority for them now. They need to save up and try and sneak one in. There we go, actually, Firestarter's calling one in into the corner of Hotel there. I mean, the only thing I have to say about that, though, is that is a very predictable position. A CV there. It could get blind bombed, especially with these F111Cs running around, which is going to absolutely devastate the infantry in those buildings. You know, we just talked about Patton and Firestarter taking that, but now they've lost it all.
Yeah, that was an incredible bombing strike. Those 4 1,000 kilogram bombs absolutely annihilating that infantry. And a really cheeky move with the Voodoo as well. Nearly managed to pick off a Tunguska that was turned on to try and kill the F11C. But it literally got turned off immediately as they noticed the Voodoo. So some fantastic micro throughout this game so far. There's really stopped certain units from dying and has definitely been effective. Like just some good micro saving units, saving lives. And
saving lives.
That should be a motto for Wargame.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, micro saves lives.
Micro saves lives. So some Gvarman did make it into into Echo now, and some SASR following up in order to take on these Motorstrelki and the Sapersi Shtamovi. And they also have the fire support of the Bisons if they continue to be moved forwards. But the Gvarman squads are getting panicked quite badly by those napalm strikes. There
are some SASR coming in though on these Stollies, and I think this is the whole tide has turned. It's kind of amazing, isn't it, when you play a much war game, how fast things can change. Because 1 second it looked like the red team was in a commanding position now because they'd just taken this giant the big town block in Hotel. They had a nice hold in Echo, and now Nande and Razman have fantastically pushed into Echo.
How long is this going to last though? Thermobaric bombs coming in, and they did miss out the SASR, but that Sapel with its 23mm autocannon chunked that squad. Oh my god. And so one squad of SASR left. They could be followed up by the other one, but they don't seem to be moving at the moment, which is a bit strange. But even so, Hotel is neutralized now. You can see that they did manage to get the command unit into the back of Hotel in a hidden position that would be spotted by any recon in that forest I was talking about earlier on the other side of the river. But there isn't any there yet. There is some on the way. Nandemann has spotted that position and is going to fill it with recon, which I think is the perfect response, because they really need to find out where this command vehicle is so that they can stop Firestarter and Patton from gaining the lead.
Well, they already have, because Nande has brought in a command in this Lynx 87 down in Echo. And that's going to neutralise Echo. They've done a fantastic job recapturing this. And it looks like they're going to put it in this very cheeky spot down by the south side of Echo in those few towns, I think.
Yeah, do you think they would have noticed that though? That Lynx 87 was probably in line of sight. So I think maybe they would have seen where that Lynx was heading. And it seems they were bringing over a Tunguska to maybe try and shoot that down. But the Panzerbills are making an offensive push across the river. They're going to bump into these Snezkas and maybe do a little bit of damage, but on the move they aren't very accurate at all. And you can see they are being picked off by the Mi-25 S24 and those Snezka autocannons. We do have some infantry crossing from Razman towards the sort of buildings in Hotel, and they're going to be supported with the Canadian Rifles. So the Commandos 90, the Canadian Rifles, and a Challenger now working together to push back into that compound. If they can get into the buildings, I think they have a good chance of pushing the red team out of Hotel entirely, and that will put a lot of pressure onto Firestarter's command vehicle sitting at the back there.
It definitely will. I think these Canadian Rifles will probably make their way through, especially with that AH-7 annihilating those moat shoots. This is actually a very good job, I think, by Nando and Razman. They've kind of kept on the ball, as it were. Didn't panic too much when all those attacks came in, and responded with a push of their own in the bottom side, which is very nice to see. And again, push in the top side, because what they've done, I think, is by doing that very nice push into Echo, they force Pan and Firestarter to respond. You see these units like the BTRT with the Napalm Infantry, the BMP-1Ds, the MI-25 S-24s coming in as well. That is a lot of points that Pan and Firestarter have spent coming to try and reclaim Echo. And yeah, they even have to pull back that CV because it's just too in danger.
Yeah, so it was forced back there. The mortars coming in and basically telling the blue side exactly where that was, because as soon as the mortars landed, it became uncapped. So it kind of gives the game away there. But they are replacing the UAZ now with a T-72K1. But that is incredibly low health, and it was sitting on napalm. It moves out of the bush and gets sniped by the Challenger 2. Oh my god, that recon really paying off now. The Volsky Jaegers in that forest there.
We just missed something fantastic. Look at topside. This Gazelle cannon has just killed the command in Charlie.
Oh wow. Oh, that is just insane. Like, that Gazelle cannon's been sat there for the whole game, and it literally just came down and did that. That puts Razman and Nandemann at a +3 lead. They've resecured Hotel. Echo is contested still, although the Mi-25 looks like it's going to find them. Yes, it will. Well, the Su-22 M4 coming in there with the two 1,000 kilogram bombs to kill that. The Gazelle cannon did go down, but yeah, managed to do the job with that command kill, and wow, what a comeback. This has been insane. So a +2 lead still, and points on the board for Razman and Nandemann to maintain their lead.
Well, this is definitely GG, I think, for Nandemann, because there is no way on God's green earth that ZHG are going to recoup a nearly 100-point deficit in the next 4 minutes with what they've got available to them. So yeah, I think this has been quite a good game we've seen, and really impressive from both sides, to be honest. I think the micro has been on point. A bit grindy to be honest, but you know, it works. if it works, it's stupid. It's not stupid.
I think honestly, like, Nandemann's just managed to play so well in order to stop like the overwhelming number of units coming out of ZHG. That is what I think has really made sure that this game stayed in Nandemann's hands. And yeah, there was so much opportunity there for Firestarter and Patton to push with the overwhelming number of units into Hotel. But I think the turning point was really when that bomber came in. The F-111C came in, landed that huge bombing strike, and it really just obliterated the push, like, entirely. It took the momentum out of it like completely. We have seen the commands being replaced, but of course with 2 minutes and 44 left on the clock, yeah, it's unlikely that we're going to see a change in the outcome of this game. Currently looks like an Su-24M is coming in to get a command snipe, maybe? It's dropped his bombs. Did that land in the right location though? No, it's landed on top of the Vulcan, just missing that command vehicle. And now Razman is replying with his own F-111C onto the bridge by the looks of things. That would probably destroy the Shilka.
I think it will. I have to say, I think the F-111C is by far the most cost-effective bomber in the game at the moment. It's got the firepower of the D-Eagle, the Deagle, I think was it 130 points? Anyone correct me if I'm wrong on that, I can't remember. 130 or 140. You get 2 of them. They're just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I've always loved that bomber, even when it had like 8 1,000 kilogram bombs on their CCM, like, oh, that was just, it was still great. But now, just a few more skirmishes across the map, but I think both sides really know the outcome. Those Hachino and Ashikis have actually been defending really well against enemy helicopters trying to probe into India and Alpha. Those Mi-25s, one of them tried to sneak around into India, but did get taken down by the Hachinella sitting on the shoreline there. But a larger amount of helicopters coming out from Firestarter now, with a couple of recon squads, a couple of Mi-25 S-24s. Let's see if they can do some damage. I mean, the hotel command has been neutralized by the use of that UAZ. Couple of SU-22 M4s coming in with the 2 1,000 kilogram bombs. Looks like they're going to have a few guesses to try and take out these CVs. One of the commands goes down in Alpha. Will one of them go down in Delta? It looks like the 2 1,000 kilogram bombs are going to land on target. This has put Firestarter and Patton on a +5. +5 command point lead at the end of this game. There's 30 seconds left. Will it count high enough?
I don't think. I think this is going to be a game where the game that'll finish with the highest command point income to the losing team. Because I don't think they'll recoup those losses in this time.
There's 15 seconds left on the clock, and Firestarter and Patton are sitting on a +5 command lead. This is just insane. Like, if they'd done this, like a minute sooner,
they would have won this
exactly.
Game.
That's crazy. Okay, so we finished the game there. The winning team is Nandemann against ZHG in a 40-minute game. Wow, absolutely wow. What a game to start us off. Fantastic. What do you have to say about that, Val?
That's pretty extreme. It's been a pretty extreme game. It was really well played, I thought, from both sides. They really showcase how good they are individually. Patton's Buratino really hurting Nandemann a lot. It was very scary. But Razman and Nande, they didn't crack under pressure. They were very calm and collected about what they did with their units. And they had F111Cs in the deck, so I mean, that's always going to help, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the red team, like ZHG, had a lot of initiative early on with those Buratinos, but with one of the Buratinos going down, it definitely hampered their ability to use those to push. Then when they came to actually push with the large amount of forces into Hotel, it did get countered very hard by those F11Cs, and I don't necessarily think the AA was far enough forwards to really take those down. They were being extremely careful against the Voodoos, and maybe over micromanaging them, because a lot of those F11Cs did get away with their bombing strikes quite easily, and maybe if they'd shot those down, it would have given them back the momentum to keep pushing, especially considering they had so many tanks. A lot of them were being picked off by the last Challenger 2 that was surviving. I mean, some of those Challenger 2s did get very low unnecessarily, but either way, just some great plays out of both sides.
I mean, this has just left me excited for what's to come, because I think that was a very good game. And, that's definitely commiserations to 5-star and Pan, because if they'd have done that 1 minute earlier, they'd have won this game. They would have won this game hands down.